30. We have 2 of our board members missing, but we do have a quorum. So is the media, do we have any media here? I don't see any. So it's just we are being recorded. Welcome to our audience out there. And it will be replayed also for those who couldn't see it live. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I so move.
Okay, Pat, second? Okay. Any discussion on the agenda? If not, it is approved without objection. Chair's remarks. This is the just about final meeting on a long process that was started months ago. This is what we call version 2, although in effect it's really 8, 9, or 10 because we've been working on this so long in different areas. After today, it will go to the board at their September meeting for approval. And I don't anticipate too many changes. There can be questions today on each different line item, but a lot of work has been done to come up with this budget. And I will turn it over to Brad. I think you're going to start.
Thank you, Honorable Madam President, members.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are there any member comments? Did anybody turn something in on Chris? Do you have any cards?
I'm sneaking in. Maxine McIntosh, 68C. I am disappointed in the attendance here. Heaven knows this board has asked people time and again to please come, make yourself heard. And Lynette Skillman, our president here, is a terrific president. I've never heard her lose her patience or be rude to anyone, even maybe some people who were being rude to the board. And it's a wonderful opportunity. And people that come out and complain to me about assessments too high or something not being included, here's your chance to say it. The people aren't here, but I want to know I appreciate the effort all of you have made to get a better attendance. Thank you.
Thank you, Maxine. Well, I hope we're getting a good attendance on TV. All right, now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
Madam President, members of the board, United members, it's a pleasure to be here today to share the results of an awful lot of work. And a lot of work by this board, your committees, advisors, and the members who've shown up at those committees, as well as a number of staff folks, particularly Betty and her team, and of course, as the biggest parts of your budget are in general services and maintenance and construction. Ernesto and Bruce have been intimately involved in many of your deliberations as well. I think there were some challenging policy issues that this board addressed in terms of really deferred maintenance and priority for addressing some of those things. I think we went through that in really quite a lot of detail and came up with a plan that accelerated certain programs and changed others. And I think those decisions were wise. They were supported by staff, and they're reflected in the documents before you today. So with that, before I jump into the budget thing, I thought it might be kind of fun to share with you, and though you know, but maybe certain members of the community, some of the things we've been working on in terms of projects. And I did this yesterday with GRF, and I thought I would just share a few things. And this is just sort of a listing of the photos I wanted to share. And you see this going on right now. This is a summertime activity almost exclusively. You can't have rain and cold when you're slurry sealing or laying new asphalt. And so I know it's incredibly inconvenient at times, but I can assure you we go to more lengths here than any city or county ever would. We just put the signs up at a city or county and start laying asphalt here. We leave all the driveways open and shuttle people and do things. So if you feel inconvenienced, you can't get in and out, or you've got a problem, please call Resident Services. We'll help you with whatever issue that you have. But we do go to great lengths to maintain access to just about everything. I'm sure there's some people who we've missed that somehow can't get where they need to go, and we'll help them in any way we can. But big program, important program. I know we have some of yours going on now. We've got JRF doing a lot as well. So there's a lot of coordination between those two programs because they must be coordinated. But anyway, big program. Go back there, I don't want to miss that. This is pretty exciting, and I think the board took a pretty big leap on this one. We did a lot of research. We had a lot of data from Walnut Creek. It's always a question of, how many visits should somebody be entitled to? How do you price it? All those sorts of things. And so you really don't know until you get some experience. And so far, our experience is very, very positive. We have a little over 150 participants in the program. We expect that will continue to grow. I think in addition to just being a really nice service and very, very competitively priced, it's a heck of a bargain. I think also you're gonna find that you're gonna save some resources in other areas. As a handyman's out there, most residents will have a list of things, and many of them are already mutual responsibility, and they just happen to be there, and so they just take care of it real quick. And so I think there are some of those benefits. And then just getting somebody out in a manner where maybe somebody who's a little older or a little feeble, and they can help and look around and see problems and also report things that require maybe a journey level sort of assistance. And so I think we have that benefit too. So I think it's a great program and a lot of benefit to the resident, of course, but I think also the mutual as well. Getting some of these smaller things taken care of and just getting another set of eyes onto some of these matters. So I think it's a win. I think you can check it. I'm calling it. Maybe early, but I'm calling it. Probably, and I hear about this as much as anything, is walkway lighting and how dark it is in the community and those sorts of things. So I know we're replacing some of these. We add a few here and there. It's always good, and we address areas where residents complain and try to solve problems. I don't know that you could do enough of this, really. I hear about this complaint quite frequently. And then, of course, we have been, and really this is one of the bigger installations we've done of more drought-tolerant landscaping in Cul-de-sac 8. You've seen a lot of this going on at various clubhouses and gatehouses. You will be doing, there's not much landscaping at 4, or I'd say we're going to do gate 4, but I'm not sure there's any landscaping there that's in the kind of the right-of-way, but you have certainly gate 16, we just did. Gate 12, we're getting ready to do, and then 11 and 10 as well with drought tolerant, water efficient landscaping. We're going to be doing a lot more of that as time goes on. And then this is one, we've been doing this for really a couple years and just really stepped it up on the prior to paint, which is essentially in United, your dry rot program. And so here, you can see we removed some beams and replaced some structural elements here that were rotted as part of this manner. This is a daily activity for our prior to paint crew to remove affected wood and to replace it, and to ensure that things are sealed properly and painted properly so that we don't have intrusion into the structural components of these units, which cause dry rot and other issues down the road. So I think it's been very successful. I think it's exactly the right way to approach this. I get a lot of praise from about our painters all the time, but what a good job they do, and we do have some of the best looking and best painted units pretty much anywhere, and they do a good job. And I know we extended that program a little bit this year, and I think we can because they do a good job, but mainly because that good painting tied together with the prior to paint program allows you to get a little bit more out of that paint, and that savings we were able to put into our waistline epoxy program. So I think that was a win-win for everyone. Speaking of that, this is sort of a before and after on waistline remediation. You can see the differences there. We also have a lesser program for supply lines as well. We do some of that. So very important. This doesn't get much chatter, but it's very important. Replacing these old sort of built up, the old tar roofs with this nice PVC roofing material that lasts a lot longer, that is solar reflective. Just a huge enhancement for the community. We're doing quite a few of these now, and I think the response has been very good. And I think where the response is really going to be good is where you get 20 or 25 years out of this instead of 15 out of the prior material we're using. So I think it's a huge win for the community. And then, of course, we have the Pushmatics. You can kind of get a glimpse of the differences here. We've been rolling through this for a couple of years now. There's obviously years to go, but an upgrade that I think in the future the community will benefit from. So I just want to share a couple of those things, just what you've been doing, and I'm sure there are things I didn't put on there that maybe could have been put on there, and we're going to be doing a little kind of vignette for your annual meeting that'll be sort of a video with some stills and some narrative and maybe interviews. Eileen's putting all that together. Some of this information will be in there. So I'd certainly appreciate any of your input in terms of things that you think are important that should be covered in terms of what the board's been up to this last year. So I would appreciate that. I just put this calendar on here to show that there's been an awful lot of meetings. We've met, and this is just the noticed meetings. This doesn't include, these are public meetings that anybody could go to. There's been a bunch of them. And there's also been smaller meetings where maybe, you know, the finance chair and vice chair get together with Betty and try to hash something out, or M&C meets with their nest. And so there's a lot of different smaller get-togethers that aren't really public meetings where we're trying to figure something out, but there's been a lot of opportunity to participate, and I think we've publicized it fairly well, and certainly always welcome residents' thoughts on things we should be addressing, how we spend our money. All those things are a valid discussion with our members. So I just wanted, I know some of this isn't entirely applicable to mutual finances, but I think it's, as a background, it's probably important to know, you know, what the heck I'm thinking about, and for the community to know as I'm putting these things together, and I have, you know, 3 of these budgets to try to put together, and they kind of work together. You know, Third and United share a lot of the same equipment. Your residents, you know, have to be secured by security personnel who are funded through the GRF budget. You know, so all these things kind of fit together. GRF owns all the equipment and stuff that you all use, and so they all have to tie together and relate to one another and be compatible. And so that's important. And so as I'm thinking about you know, what kind of things are important to fund and not fund, and again, those are ultimately board decisions, but I have to make recommendations on them. You know, department heads, I've never met a good department head that didn't want, you know, twice as many new positions as I was willing to even think about, let alone recommend approval. And I was proven correct again this year. Thank you, Ernesto. And so, you know, when I look at those kinds of requests, I mean, the number one thing is, what's it going to do for the customer? Does it provide direct customer service, or is it a support position that really isn't going to enhance customer service? But maybe it enhances, you know, reporting or compliance with some state or federal statute, or those sorts of things. Those are valuable too, but they don't reach the same level as directly providing a service to a customer. And that is really what we're trying to emphasize. And then nextly does it create some efficiency? And I think this is where you get into some of Chuck's, these next two. Does it create an efficiency that is going to create some savings that I can apply to number one? And so those kind of initiatives typically would get, you know, a high priority in the budgetary process. And I would throw technology in there too, because in most of the technology work we're doing, it creates huge efficiencies because our processes have been so primitive for so long, so paper-based. You know, you have 5 people touching the same piece of paper that shouldn't even exist in the first place. And so those kinds of projects that eliminate those systems, they get a pretty high priority. And then I think there is so much deferred maintenance. I say facility here, but I'm really talking about everything, whether it be a clubhouse or a gatehouse or a manor. There's been so much deferred maintenance that there has to be huge emphasis on trying to catch up on some of that and to do it properly, not just to put some wood putty on it and a coat of paint, but to go underneath that and repair these structural and infrastructure deficiencies from the ground up and then move forward. And so I think those obviously get a high priority as well. In my mind, ultimately, you decide what these priorities are and what's best for your members, and we respect that, but we try to do enough work and give you enough information so that hopefully you'll agree with our assessment, but when you don't, you'll have enough information to move off in a different direction and feel comfortable that you're doing the right thing. So I just wanted to share that. Just in terms of, and I'm looking at this really globally right now, but there's a 14 positions increased in VMS, and most of them are in, the landscaping, security, and resident services. And there's a position or two here or there, but that's where it's going. All direct customer service departments. And so that was where the need is. That's where we provided it. Could we use some more back-end administrative support? Heck yeah, we could, but it's not as important as those things. And so we'll struggle along, and hopefully Chuck will kick out the next great thing that will create some efficiencies that will free up some administrative time with the resources we have. Let me go back here. I didn't get all that. Again, assessment increases are, and this is pretty consistent with what you've done historically, are very low, less than 2% or right around 2%. That's been pretty consistent over the last several years. I have a slide on that. We did move some of the major mutual components to reserve. I think that appropriate. I still feel not so much maybe in the mutuals, but in GRF, that we tend to overstate our operational costs by not capitalizing things that should come out of reserve. So that's just an ongoing adjustment we're trying to make. And I think most importantly, you identified your top priorities, mainly waistlines, but other things as well. And you said that's where we want to put our resources. And so this budget does that. Again, I just give you a sense of overall staffing. I think the high was probably 2013 at maybe 770. And then you can see with the positions that I've requested, we're at 741. So we're still low. There's a couple of things that factor into that. I think over certainly the last 10 years, through some interesting changes in say turf management techniques, we probably reduced landscape personnel by maybe 75, probably 100 at one time. We've added a few back. And so do a lot of edge spraying, mulching mowers, you're not carrying stuff off, big mowers. It's just things you do to be more efficient. Kurt was pretty good at developing techniques that would make the crews more efficient and allow them to move faster. And sometimes faster is not better. And I think we're kind of at that now. So we're looking at some different techniques. I know you had a meeting this morning to talk about some of these techniques and how they work, what their effects are in the community. And so we're evaluating that. And I think adding a few landscape positions back will be helpful in that regard. As well as we're contracting out more of the major kind of project work. Right now, they just happen to be in third, though I think United will benefit greatly from what's going on over on Ridge Route, because that little forest that was behind those commercial buildings there was kind of a safe harbor for homeless and vagrants and other folks who might on occasion want to jump that wall and and take your bike or spend the night in the laundry room. And so swim in the pool, you know. And so we're cleaning all that out using contract labor and installing 7-foot shepherd's crook fencing in there to deter those kind of entries into the community. And so similarly, we're using contract labor for a fire fuel modification that was ordered by the Orange County Fire Authority. It's a big project. If I had to pull, 10 landscapers, out of the field for 2 months to do that work, that would have devastated our residents. And so we contracted that out. And it's a big job. It's some, $200,000 in contracted labor. And so, again, that'll protect the community, but also it doesn't affect our landscape crews. So some of that's reflected in these lower numbers, in that maybe I'm a little more willing than past management has been to do more contracted work. And I think given the tight labor market, I think the union's more willing to work with us on that, because they can't find them either. So I think that it's kind of a win-win, and I think the opportunity to bring in outside help when you need it is positive for the community. Here's where the positions line up, and you can see landscape, they get the bulk of these. I should explain, there's a couple of positions increase in my office. Those are folks that are already here doing work, and I have borrowed those positions from another department, and they're kind of insistent that I give them back, and so it was a while back. So anyways, we're going to give them back, and that is the Assistant Corporate Secretary and Eileen, the Communications Director. So those are the two positions, and they've been around for a while. So, and here you can see a couple positions, 2.5 positions in security. And that's a little bit misleading, because we are getting some efficiencies in security. We used to always have 2 gate ambassadors at each gatehouse, and so now, as you bring this technology forward, and as resident services is answering many more of the gate access calls, there's less of a need to have 2 gate ambassadors at every gate. And so many of them are reducing down to 1, and so that savings is kind of being converted to more security and patrol staff that will be out there to help residents and to secure our community. So, again, I think that's positive as well. And this is just kind of the rundown of your assessment change that is included and proposed only as part of this budget. And you can see that the mutual is a little over $5, and GRF's a little over $4 for a total increase of $953, which I think equates to about 2% or less than 2%. Yeah. So CPI last month in Orange County was 4.1%. So you get a sense where things are headed, where they've been headed for a couple of months, and so being less than 2%, I think is pretty positive. That this is kind of interesting, and just if you look at, I'm just taking a 5-year peek at assessment levels, and it's been a couple of percent or less than a couple of percent, sometimes less than 1%. Some of these are pretty tight, like between 16 and 17, it was almost flat, but I think if you look over this whole period, you're well below CPI that entire period, well below.
Do you want questions while you're drinking, or wait until the end?
It might be quicker if I finish, but I'll whatever the board wants. It doesn't matter to me. I love to be interrupted, quite frankly. You want to proceed?
Yes.
Okay. And then I thought this is an interesting stat here. I mean, we have been spending a lot of money fixing a lot of deferred maintenance over the last several years, at least 2 or 3 years, whether it be dry rot or pushmatics or waste lines, things that have never been addressed before. You've addressed them. And yet, your balances are still the same. And so to me, that shows that you're being fairly efficient. You're moving things around to address the priorities that you've identified. And that's, I think, a more responsible way to do it than just to jack assessments up every time a new need arises. You're not doing that. You've set priorities and you've adjusted things so that your priorities can be met while still taking care of these other things. And I think that's entirely proper exercise of your policy-making role and in keeping with your fiduciary responsibility to your members. I applaud you for that. So this will give you a look here, and I mean, you can kind of look at these numbers. I just look at the bottom line. How much are we spending? And you can see during this period here, you're about $3.5 million more than you were. $1 million of that is property taxes. Your property taxes, and that's up here somewhere. It's in the next slide. So even though you're spending millions of dollars addressing these critical infrastructure issues and have installed a major solar project, your reserves are about where they were 5 years ago, and your assessments are not much higher, less than CPI, way less, and your overall budget isn't that much more than it was a few years ago. So I think it paints a pretty good picture for the work you're doing, particularly in light of all the deferred maintenance that you're facing. I mean, that's always a problem. It's always cheaper to do it sooner. The longer you wait, the more entrenched and difficult the problems become to fix. And so you're a little bit stuck with that, but I think you're addressing it in a very responsible way. So I want to talk about, and I won't talk about this a lot because quite frankly, most of your revenue comes from assessments. And I think GRF has a little more robust picture and opportunities to make money in terms of broadband and internet, cable, golf. There's other things they do. Here, really, you have chargeable services, laundry, and then a series of fees. And the totality of that is, what was that, Betty, about a little over $1 million?
1.4 million.
1.4 million. So given that you have 54 million in total expenditures, noting that 10 of that is property taxes and is really a pass-through. So it's really a $44 million operation, and so you've got 1.4 million in revenue that's not assessment. I think that's pretty clear. Again, this just kind of articulates some of that. I don't see much here to quibble with. And then on the expenditure side, again, you can see that huge property tax. Again, you're just really a conduit for Orange County here to facilitate their collection of property taxes in a cooperative housing environment, which is highly unusual in California anyway, and I would doubt that the tax collectors and assessor in the other two counties who have these do this the way we're doing it. I suspect they may have a different arrangement. Somebody might know the answer to that, but I know, again, I have a lot of county experience in Sacramento and Riverside County, and property taxes are very important to counties. We didn't have any co-ops, so I've never even seen a feature like happens here. So it's clearly unusual. Again, employee salaries are a pretty big piece of what we do. And then utilities. And I think you've taken a big step towards addressing that utility cost with your solar installation. I think probably, obviously, water is a big piece, and we're starting to address that with some landscape reduction. We're insistent on trying to grow grass in places where grass doesn't want to go, and we should just stop. If you got a 50-year-old ficus in your front yard, you don't get to have grass, pretty much. It's just it won't grow. You can water it, you can seed it, you can do whatever you want to it, but it's not going to do very well. So you either take out the ficus or take out the grass, and that's a policy decision that this board makes, and usually opt for the tree. So I think we can reduce our water consumption through turf reduction, and reasonably, not eliminating every blade of grass here, but just addressing areas what we really need to do is a nice study and survey all this and come up with these areas that where we put so much effort in trying to grow grass in areas that just make any sense, and let's stop and remove it and have a program to go forward. So I know you guys have talked about that a lot, and we'll continue to talk about it. But you can see most of your other expenses pale in comparison to the big three there. Again, nothing here got me too excited. I thought this is kind of interesting, though, is that your employee compensation costs are considerably less than they were in 2015 even. A little up from last year, not very much. And expenses related have been pretty flat all in all. So some of these are like the materials and other things. There are a number of these categories, and Betty can go into detail if you're interested. I know you worked on it, where, wow, it looks like that's gone down. Well, not really. It's just been moved over to reserves. So I want to remind the board of that, though I know you were all involved in making those decisions. Again, water continues to, and sewer as well, continues to increase. I think that's inevitable. And so are really, I think sewer's a harder one to address. But certainly on the water side, as I previously discussed, we have opportunities for savings, or at least try to hold it flat in this environment of drastically escalating water costs. I mean, you can anticipate that to continue. Again, not much to quibble with here. I know, Betty, would you add anything on the expense side? Okay. And here you see really this is your property tax there, and you can see it's gone up, well, 1.2 million since 2015. Now, that's sad for our residents because they have to pay more property tax, but their house is worth a heck of a lot more too. Values have gone up in this village over 15% this year. I mean, it's been a pretty good year. I think it's actually a little higher than that, but I don't have the exact number at hand. But I mean, as with all of Orange County and California generally, values are going up rather quickly. And so, while for probably our newer residents, that might mean a tax hit, but for some of us who've maybe lived in the same place for a long time, you're probably feeling pretty good right now. Our insurance rates have been fairly stable, given the nature of that market. So not a ton there. Now, I don't know how much you want to cover of this, but this is your component piece. This is operating fund by program, so you get a sense of where your money goes, and obviously the biggest part of this is shrub bed maintenance at 1.9 million, and then you've got almost $1 million for lawn maintenance. That's a lot of acres and a lot of shrubs. Slope maintenance, your slopes are in wonderful shape. Can't say that about your mutual partner. We have a lot of work to do on their slopes, but theirs are more complicated and difficult and taller, and they're on the edge of a wilderness, and there's all kinds of things going on. But your slopes look very good. They're well maintained. They were planted properly to begin with, and so just keeping them nice is the goal, and I think we're doing a pretty good job at that. Overall, not a lot on the operating side. Here's your maintenance program in the operating fund. Again, some of these things are up. I think for me, and maybe I'll go back a slide, and maybe this is a good point to say, because these are the kinds of things that typically board members have questions about. And so if there are questions about any of these line items, maybe stop me before I move on, and then we can, because this is the meat of your budget right here. What are you spending the money on? I don't think anybody would quibble too much with an assessment increase of less than 2%, given all the work you're doing. I mean, I think that's the qualifier, but it's kind of where it fits into these various slots that people may have issues. Here, and this is really kind of the direct service to residents piece. We have seen more requests for carpentry services. I know Ernesto and I had talked about that recently. I think the janitorial service stands out and merits an explanation. There are a couple things going on there. One is we used to have landscapers do a lot of things that weren't landscaping. And when you're having a drought and you're not watering anything and nothing's growing, that probably works out okay. But then it starts raining again and you got all your landscapers cleaning carports. You know, that's not helpful. So I've discontinued that practice, but I've had to now have somebody else do that work, which is the custodial service. And so that's reflected in this janitorial budget here, is that they're picking up those things that were used to be done by landscapers. In addition, that also funds the program, the hated program of picking up TVs and mattresses and things that residents improperly put next to the dumpsters. And so, like I said, we're hauling off a lot of material that residents stick out by the dumpsters. Waste management will not pick that up, and so we have to pick it up. So I have 2 guys full-time that drive around and pick up things that residents put by the dumpsters. Cost the community $100,000 a year, more than $100,000 a year. They have a truck, 2 guys, and then we fill up, I think he said a 40 cubic yard dumpster every day. That's kind of a lot. That's not just the bottom, that's the whole thing. And so if residents, I'd like to get rid of these 2 guys. They're nice guys, they work hard. I can find something else for them to do. So if residents would stop putting things next to the dumpster, they can call resident services and we will come and pick it up right out of your manor. We work in partnership with Waste Management on that. They'll send somebody out. You don't even have to take it down to the dumpster. They'll come right in your manor and get it from you. So, again, that's in that line item. Again, most of this other stuff, I don't take, I have some question, and maybe Ernesto, you can answer this. Why is pest control going down so much? Is this because it's contracted out? That was my view of it. Oh, sure.
Yeah, we're contracting out the service. However, we're just anticipating, based on that, a lot of it is based on inspections, and the inspections are just telling us that we're not having an upward trend. So we're catching up with a lot of it, and it's just the numbers are not needed to be that high. So that's reflective of that.
Yeah. One of the things, and again, it goes back to landscaping, we always did this bee remediation in-house. And so, you know, bees they're not very thoughtful. They don't go on the ground or next to your front door, you know, they're up in a tree or they're up high in your attic or near your house. And so, you know, we always had to go steal a boom from landscaping and have somebody come over, then you call a carpenter to come and cut a hole, and then you get the bee guy in to get the bee out, and you call a carpenter to come in and replace the hole, and then you call a painter to come and paint it. And so it seems like, or stucco, and so what seems like a fairly simple thing, it kind of turns into a lot of coordination, and you're taking equipment away from somebody who needs it. And so that's a really good one for contracting out. You got a one-stop shop there. They come out, they handle it, it's done, and they go away. And so, again, that helps us on the landscaping side, and then it doesn't, tie a lot of folks up with these small items that a fully equipped, one-stop shop can just do it all at once. And so, those are the right kind of things to contract out. Here you can see, I think these programs were, I wasn't, again, some of these where you see them zeroed out, likely move to reserve, so say no. And here you see your reserve contributions. A little higher. We've got more things in reserve, a little less in operating, so you'd expect that. And then you can see your contributions to your contingency fund as well. So all in all, I think a very conservative, responsible way addressing infrastructure and deferred maintenance issues maintaining a reasonable reserve and contingency fund to address things that may come up that are unplanned. And then I think I'll let Betty talk about the reserves plan. She loves this stuff. She's got a certificate in reserves planning, so she's got to do this.
I do like the reserve study. So we are looking at slide 32 now, and I just wanted to walk you through what your reserve plan looks like when we put the financing piece together with the maintenance piece. So you're seeing just a very brief summary here of a financial plan showing money going in and money coming out of a reserve. But just know that there is a book of data that goes behind this for each component in those reserve plans that you're responsible for. Ernesto and Bruce have gone through and identified the scope of work, the basis for replacement, the age of the asset, the condition of the asset, and so we're projecting planned expenditures. So this is really a cash flow-based reserves plan where your emphasis is on those planned expenditures in future years. You see a total here of 13.3 million, but there's dozens and dozens and dozens of components behind this that are addressed individually to come up with that total. So we start the year by looking at your audited reserve balance at the end of 2017, and we say, all right, January 1st, 2018, we're starting with $19.3 million in this reserve fund, to which we project planned expenditures of $11.6 million. And so that final column there, the green shaded number on the far right, is your anticipated reserve balance. We do that for every year until we get a 30-year plan that is then on the next slide. Those ending balances are graphed against a threshold. This is called the threshold basis of reserves planning, and you say, you know what, even after considering all the money going in and coming out of our reserve, we want to stay above a threshold or a buffer that is a comfort level for the boards, knowing that you still have money in reserve for unexpected items or the need to accelerate a program or new code requirements that require some compliance issues to be addressed. You don't want to go all the way down to zero in your reserves. And so United Mutual currently has a threshold of just over $10 million. This red line here shows that $10 million inflated each year, just so we don't keep it flat and lose the value of money over time. And then those ending reserve balances are projected to sometimes come down to the threshold, but then build back up for expenditures in future years. And so you may wonder after 2026, why are our reserve balances projected to go up so high and then come down by the end of that 30-year period? And so in your handout for the agenda package, if you look at your reserve components, you can focus on roofs and asphalt, carport renovation, and solar panels. Those 4 items have some pretty heavy expenditures towards the end of your 30-year plan. Now, obviously, we update the reserve plan, all components of it, every single year. So it doesn't get done once and then stand for 30 years. That wouldn't be realistic. The Civil Code requires a certain level of review each year and a major review every 3rd year. Because of your on-site staff, we have eyes on these components at all times. So you have up-to-date information through your operations, and we're able to give you a new revised projection each year. So just know that this is required through Civil Code. You've met that requirement. You're able to check the box that says, yes, we have sufficient funds to meet our obligations over the next 30 years. But we review that in detail every year to make sure we keep up with any changes in what's anticipated. Then these next few slides, starting on slide 34, are just the components I was referring to. It's just a very brief summary of the planned expenditure in 2019, just the first of the 30 years. And it's ordered here alphabetically. So if you have a question on a particular component, we can go back to it. But you can see here your biggest item at the top is for building structures. That's basically dry rot program or any other components of a building structure like stair treads and so forth that might need attention. and you have electrical systems. Your paint and your prior to paint is a big reserve program, as is your tree maintenance. Your tree maintenance is not level every year. You have, I think, a 34-month tree trimming program. And so because of the fluctuation in those expenditures, where one year you might have almost no tree trimming and then over $1 million in the following year, it's appropriate to have that as a reserve expenditure, so it's not a direct impact on your assessment. You can draw on funds that you accumulate over time to afford those expenditures in the years where there's a big hit. And then, of course, your waistline remediation on page 35, this is going from $1.5 to $2.3 million. The board asked for some extra attention on this program to accelerate the remediation work that's being done there. In total, you have about $13.3 million planned as your reserve expenditures. We do report these each month as the year progresses at your M&C meeting and your finance meeting to give you a project status and any variance explanations that are needed when you deviate from that plan.
And I think you have it there. I just wanted to add a couple of comments. One thing is there was some discussion about how we valued various aspects within the reserve plan, particularly replacement costs. I know the solar was one of the issues that came up, and I think probably the typical way is to look at what it cost you, and if you're doing a replacement, then you start there and then inflate it over time, and you come up with a number. I think in this case, maybe the solar number it may be a little exaggerated because so much of that project was underground. We had a lot of conduit work and wiring and things that you probably won't have to replace when you do that. So I would ask your indulgence. I want to take one more peek at that, make sure we've got it right, because we had the same discussion last year, and I don't know if we put enough work into it to give you a solid answer, but we'll have that before you come back with the resolution at your next meeting. So we'll have that discussion. And then the other thing I guess you could quibble about all these, that stairwell, you've got it underpriced or overpriced. It is at best a guesstimate. We're talking about buying something 20 or 30 years from now. I think what you paid for the current one plus some inflated value is the best you're going to be able to do. You don't know even what materials you'll be using, if they'll be under some sort of economic stress at that time that you need to buy them, and so they'll be more or less expensive than you anticipated. A lot of factors. What new environmental rules or regulations are going to come down the pipe that are going to change the way you do business. It's all a bit of a guess, and I think the fact that you look at it every year is good, and if you see something that looks like it's not quite right, then you make the adjustment then. But I think 30 years, I said this to GRF 6 months ago, I said, we can't plan on a 30-year basis, and particularly for the kind of work they do. So we put together a 5-year CIP that they adopted that we can deal with 5 years. We pretty much know what's going to happen in 5 years. Over 30 years, it's a little trickier. And then lastly, I think there's generally a history of the board allocating a certain amount of resources for reserve capital projects, and then a lot of that money doesn't get spent. And so I think that that is something that's happened here. I am doing my best to put an end to that horrible practice and to spend the money that you authorize to make the repairs that you want completed. And I think we've come a long way in getting there. Will we likely, if you say, well, we're going to spend $13 million, will we likely spend 13? Probably not. Maybe 12, But on the other hand, things come up. You could spend more too. And that has happened. We've had some, and it hasn't happened in the mutual that I'm aware of. We had a couple of big sinkholes that happened on GRF property that cost us a bunch of money. We had a pipeline that broke out of the blue at at Clubhouse 4 and about wiped the place out. Now, we ended up getting our money back on that, but we had to spend quite a bit. So those things just happen, and it's good to have a little bit of cushion to deal with that. But our intent is to spend all the resources that you've allocated, and I think, again, it's taken a bit to put those processes and systems in place to allow that to happen, because that just has not been the culture here. And so, but I think now with the work Ernesto has done, that we're seeing a lot more productivity than you've ever seen here before. And I think the numbers bear that out pretty clearly. So with that, I would again thank you, and we look forward to your policy direction as the final ingredient in this budget process.
Okay, I'd like to make a couple of comments before we go and get questions from the rest of the board. First of all, I'd like to remind or emphasize to our residents that we are unique in that your property taxes are included in your monthly assessment. They aren't in third. If you have friends who live in third, their monthly assessment is a little higher than ours, and yet they still get property tax bills up and above those every year. If we took out property tax and did not have it in our assessment, our assessments would be much lower. But you would still get property tax bills a couple times a year. By evening it out over the 12 months, we feel that we are doing the best service to our residents, even when property taxes do go up, and we have no control over those. The other thing I want to point out is in insurance, even though it's only gone up $2, is we added earthquake insurance this last year, which we had not had. We were very fortunate to get a good rate on that, but it is in our insurance package now. So a couple of dollars more for that is just kind of peace of mind. I reiterate what Brad has said. It's up to you, the residents, to make sure that you are not causing us to spend more money than we need to. And I'm specifically talking about the waste pickups, and you think, oh, well, it's not a big thing, it's just me. But if it's over $100,000 a year, yes, it is. That goes into your budget. And so it's important that you take advantage of that. And when we look at our reserve contributions, yes, they've gone up a little, but go back to the other slides and see that our balances have been holding fairly steadily, which means that we have been spending those monies responsibly. In fact, I think very, very well. We have been doing things in United that have been kicked down the road for years and years and years, particularly with our infrastructure that we are now tackling and using, and yet we are not asking the residents to kick in a special assessment for that or for their assessments to go up that much more. So as you look at this budget, as we have, we're pretty proud of what we're coming up with this year. I go to Carl, you had a question?
Yeah, I had a question. I had a question, and now you can actually hear me, I believe. My question had to do with the fact that for our audience, besides the people around this board, okay, and the people at home, there are certain things in here they may not understand, and there's a lot of material here. I mean, you know, maybe from a layman's perspective, okay, some of these things, okay, can be possibly simplified, okay? And my understanding right now is the fact that what you're recommending right now is a $9.53 per month increase in the assessment. Is that correct, based on what you've presented here?
Yeah,
Just for the...
yes,
the
that's
auditors at
correct,
home.
and really, 5.5 roughly is
Is us.
yours, and then another 4 or so for
Right.
GRF, so.
And you mentioned the word CPI, which sometimes is completely an unknown entity to some people, okay? So you indicated that within Orange County, the CPI was around 4%, and this only represents a 2%.
That's last month. It's
Right.
been 2 to 3% for quite some time.
And I'm wondering if Betty could possibly put a little explanation to what that CPI is and how that all works out for the home audience, if you will.
Well, we're looking at the Bureau of Labor Statistics to report the CPI in the Los Angeles, Orange County area. And we look at the All Urban Consumer, CPI-U is what it's called, because it's a bigger basket. And how that directly relates to the materials and supplies and labor that you're using, you know, it's not specific to our industry, but it's still a general guideline that we can see where things are trending. It's been low, and last year was consistently around 2%. It just has increased recently. So year over year, May this year compared to May last year, it was a 4.1% increase.
So our assessment increase right now really is within the realms of inflation and all those other things, with the additional work that we'll have to do to get all of those items corrected, like the waistline remediation and increase in wages because of the fact that obviously raises are in order, because that's what happens with various different things. So all of this is represented in this $9.53. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I wanted to do, just so that the home audience may have a better explanation as to what's going on.
All right, Pat, you were next.
Yes, first of all, I've got two items. I'd like to have a clarification on the property taxes. Actually, the property taxes are paid on top of the assessments, and they have nothing to do directly with the assessments. So if our assessments are $150, well, $550, then the property tax would be added to that, and they don't come out of the assessments. I think the only problem here is that they're all paid together with the assessments, not that they come out of the assessments.
Right. The terminology we use for what's presented today is the total basic assessment. So when we talk about per man or per month of $578.52, on top of that will be added the property tax that's unique to each unit.
Right.
And because we can't, although we include it here in the business plan and it's in the dollars, and you see the $9.8 million as Brad went through the slides, and it's in that total $54 million business plan, we haven't represented it per man or per month because it varies so widely between
Yes.
unit,
One
depending
unit.
on when it was purchased and the value.
Thank you very much. And then the second item I have, I think it's just a typo here. It's on, excuse me, gotta get my glasses here. It's on slide number 17. And I think you'll see that there's an obvious mistake on the last line down, maintenance and construction. The whole thing does not add across properly. And I think that for 2019, maintenance and construction should be more like $199.50. Not 100% sure on that.
Are you
Did you
looking
take
at
a
the
look at that?
staffing?
Yes.
Full-time staffing? Mm-hmm. Right, maintenance and construction did not have a net change in their staffing.
Well, this increase-decrease figure doesn't add up right then.
Okay, I'll check the numbers to see if that third column has a
My only concern
misstatement.
would be you don't want to be publishing something that's got an obvious error in it. And I think
I
there
will
is.
bring out my high financing
Great.
iPhone right now and do
Thank
some
you.
quick math.
I'm sure you will, Betty. Thank you.
Cash and then Manny.
I have a few questions, maybe. First is on slide 17. In reference to that, you made a comment that we are cutting on gate ambassadors. A couple of times I came in after like 1 o'clock at night, came into the community, and I see kind of very senior single lady sitting in the booth. I think that's not one place we want to cut costs, even though you're showing that we are cutting costs on that. Because that could turn out to be a major issue if with today's, things that are going on, it might turn to be a headache rather than savings.
Those are going up.
If there's a robbery attempt or something like that, burglary attempt. My next question is on slide 21. The total revenue, you're showing a decrease between 2018 plan and 2019. Now, if you're showing a decrease, then further down somewhere you're showing that we are still maintaining our funds properly, even though we are cutting down in $1 million in savings. I mean, not $156,000 positive variance. I would want to make sure that's the correct figure, 1.426.
Yes, I think that's correct. Part of that is, I think, chargeable services has been overstated for a couple of years, and I think we're bringing that down to what is more realistic and our experience. And I think the other factor we have to take into that with your preventative maintenance program, with your handyman program and other things we're doing like that, I think residents will be less likely, at least those residents, to use chargeable services, and a lot of times they won't have to, because they'll have a handyman who'll come over and just take care of it, if it's a covered service. So, for those reasons, we've lowered our forecast on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
My other question is on slide 24. You're showing 36% of the expenditure to be property and sales tax. But actually, we collect our property and sales tax from individual members. Then why is that included here?
Because we pay.
Unless this is strictly the property and sales tax.
Which slide are you looking at?
24.
Oh, 24. Sorry, we were on 34.
Okay.
24.
So
If
when
we-
we're-
If we're charging the individual members property taxes, why are they included in our expenditure?
So when we are presenting the budget in dollars, if you look at your business plan in the agenda package, the attached operating statement, we're always presenting the total dollars. It's only when we express it per man or per month that we limit it to the basic assessment, and that does not include property taxes. But you need to see all the components of your $54 million business plan, including the property tax. We just don't, we can't express it
Even though
per
it's
man or per
fully
month.
offset by revenue.
Okay, my next question is on slide 29. I'm particularly talking about your comment on people throwing old TVs and furniture. Now, we know when a manor is being vacated,
No,
most of the time, don't we?
no.
We do not? Okay. Then maybe we should start advertising so that people will be more aware that when there is a vacated manor, people are aware that, hey, there's some movement going on here. And maybe we can stop the heirs that come in to clean up the place from dumping and making it burden for us. Also, on the pest control on the same slide, my question is, I see a lot more problems with ants and rabbits in my area anyway, gate 51. Are we doing anything to control rabbit population? Because I don't see.
We don't do much for rabbits. I'm not gonna be on TV here saying we're doing something to rabbits. We're just not doing anything to rabbits. Now, we are leaving coyotes alone too, so maybe that's doing something about rabbits. I don't know.
It's really, yeah, it's really a reactive program, if you would. I mean, we don't have a program specifically to address rabbits. Rabbits could be a tremendous problem, particularly in slopes and other undermining things. But we don't have a specific program. However, if we do get calls that there is a particular issue, we will go out and address it. So it's part of the program.
At any one time, I see 4 or 5 rabbits running around my yard in the evening time.
Yeah.
You're lucky.
And that's okay, because they're cute. But when the population gets extreme is when we experience problems with slope undermining and other issues.
And they do a pretty good number on the grass and your shrub beds as well, when they're excessive. And that damage is fairly easy to spot. They leave very obvious traces where they've been.
Okay, my next question is on slide 35. You're talking about wall replacement. What kind of walls are we talking about? Because I have never seen any wall being replaced in the community in the last 2 years.
Yeah, this is a program that addresses, it's a contingency program that addresses walls that have rotated for a variety of reasons. So we just had one, this happened to be in Third, where a bridge, one of the walkway bridges was repaired, and the way they did that is they put a column and they supported it on an existing wall. That wall was never designed to hold that load, so the wall rotated. So we had to go out there and actually replace the entire wall, replace the footing, replace the wall. So this is another instances where the soil conditions allow the wall to rotate. If the wall rotates, eventually it'll be an impending collapse of that wall. So we go out there and we do those replacements.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, my
You
last
see that a
one-
lot on patios, and in the area you get a lot of, especially on your hilly areas, you'll see things moving and twisting.
Right. We saw that after the big rains that we got recently, because a lot of our buildings, unfortunately, this is a practice we're trying to change, drain the roofs in the vicinity of the building, which is, it's definitely something you don't want to do. You need to take that water away from the building. And because of the excessive rains that we had, the soil around the building got saturated. And because it gets saturated, the supporting forces on the soil give away, so the walls begin to rotate. That's another problem that we've seen, and we repaired several, like Brett said, manor walls.
Okay, my last question, strictly since this is going to be public, on slide 11, the before picture should be an old Pushmatic, not the new unit with the panel removed. You should show the old Pushmatic.
It's just dark.
Right.
This is the, not the old Pushmatic. This is the same as this one with the cover removed.
And you're absolutely correct.
I am correct.
It's the guts of the new one. Yeah.
It looks much better. 282 piece.
I told Eileen she couldn't get away with that.
Worth a try. All right,
Thank you.
Manny, I know you
Good
have
catch.
quite a few for us, so would you mind if I take 2 short questions before we get to you?
That's fine.
All right, Janie, you had one?
Answer.
Okay, Maggie?
Okay, minor, very short and very minor. I noticed that paving is still in a maintenance and construction. It's been in maintenance construction until 2015 on all the budgets I've seen and on all the green books I've seen. Someone recently told me that walkway paving was a landscape issue and that landscape should have been doing it for a while, and it was not, and I said no. And so this is where it should be, and their paving is M&C. And that's sidewalks. Thank you.
You're absolutely correct. There's actually 2 components of this. There's a reactive component, which is addressed by general services. And that's when somebody calls that there's a crack in the sidewalk or a displaced slab that is causing an issue, they'll go out there and they'll either grind it or replace the slab. And then the other component is the larger amount that you're putting into your reserves to do most of the concrete work before we do the paving work. So there's 2 components associated with that, and one of them is in reserves, the other one is in operations.
Right. And I'm finding that on the budget version 1 in this book. Okay, that was my question. Another part is to jump on the recycle bandwagon with the waste management. If the recycle bin is despoiled by food and other things, it costs 4 times the regular price for that bin to be taken care of. So whenever we do this blast.
I think it's going out tomorrow.
Okay, we need to put that in there too. It is 2 things. One, your furniture doesn't go wherever you want it to, and your food waste doesn't go wherever you want it to. And so that's it. I think the third thing is that so far, up through May, we were doing very well for water. We were nice, a little bit lower than 2015 and all the prior years. Alas, July and August are here, and we're certain that the water will be back up to normal or maybe a little past. Thank you, that's all.
One more before you get to you, Annie. Cash, we have used almost all of the communication means that we have to try to do this problem. We have a brochure that they get at the desk on moving in, moving out. So anybody who we know is moving out, turned in their cards, they get that, and it talks about not putting things near the trash bins. Another thing that was interesting that Mr. Leonard brought to my attention not too long ago is that if you put your recyclables, cans, bottles, etc., in a plastic bag and put it in the recycle bin, that contaminant, they won't take it.
Right.
So if you think you're doing good by putting all your recyclables in a plastic bag and taking them out all at one time, empty that bag in the recycle bin. Don't put the bag in the recycle bin.
Or
So-
use a paper bag.
Yeah. And if anybody's interested, the waste management website has just a tremendous amount of this information on it. So if you have any questions, go on there and look. Thank you. All right, Manny, it's your turn.
Yes, thank you, Wendy. Before you put me on the timer, I have some remarks to make regarding the presentation they made this morning. Microphone. I have it on. Okay. I'd like to comment on the information in this report, and then I will have some special information that hasn't been, let's say, highlighted. So first, regarding this report here, I want everybody to recognize that we've had a number of meetings on all these topics, and it's become clear to me from all these meetings that VMS staff, the department heads, all the way up to Brad, they work hard on coming up with these numbers. And they also look at every new plan, such as waistline remediation, things that we haven't dealt with before, and they came up with meaningful amounts and programs. Along this line, for example, we had a director that was proposing a $20 per month increase in the assessment because he was concerned about waistline remediation, just like all of us are. But staff came back and said, no, we think that we've got the program under control. Director still wasn't satisfied, so we held a special meeting that staff was supposed to come back with some additional findings. They came back to us with an accelerated program, and they were able to do it by reducing some other programs, and they still only increased the budget for waistline remediation from $2 million, which was proposed for this year, to only $2.3 million, but that is an $800,000 increase over the prior year. Same thing in landscaping. In this year's budget, we have an increase of over $900,000 for tree maintenance, bushes, and lawn maintenance, something that needs to be done. So again, when directors came up with concerns about certain areas, so on, they were able to come back with an assessment where costs, just these 2 items alone, are over $1.7 million. But because they were able to do other reductions, and the other topic I'm going to talk about afterwards, reserves, they're able to accomplish that. So in this budget, or business plan, there's really 4 factors that play into it. First of all, there's the regular maintenance services they have to provide. Then there's the component replacements and repairs. Then they have to look at the income source, and finally, the bottom line is your assessment. So all those go into play here. And the other thing I wanted to clarify is that you've got reserve information in this handout in two places. One of them is on page 20, and the other one's on page 32. And again, I'm only saying this because a lot of you may not be aware of this, but there are two reserve funds. There's the one that takes care of the components, and the other one is a contingency fund. And if you look at page 32, you will see that for 2018, the reserve balance is forecast to be $18.7 million. You look over at 2018, that's $21 million. And that's because that includes the contingency balance. And the reason that's important to recognize is because the only reason when you look at the total figure over here that it looks favorable on a total basis is because it leaves out the fact that during 2016 and 2017, you spent $3.8 million out of that contingency fund for the solar panel project. So that, because the regular fund for replacements and reserves was originally forecast to only be like 15 million, 16 million in these years coming up. So right now, the only reason you show 18 million here is because of underspending in certain programs, and we've gotten an accumulation of about $5.8 million. So those are all things you should recognize here. Staff has done a very good job on coming up with this program. I did numerous spreadsheets. I questioned certain expenses because the past history didn't support those. They were able to satisfy that concern. So it's, the only caveat to that is that there's one major expenditure that we never get to see anything on, and that's wages and related costs. And out of this report here where you show the total projected expenses, of that $49 million, there's like, or $41 million, I believe it is, over 15 million, about 16 million is for payroll and related expenses. That's about 34% of the budget. So all these positives I'm telling you is with the exception that we see nothing about that cost category. So that's what I had to say about this. Now I'd like to present some additional information I think is very meaningful to this plan. Can I go ahead?
Is it a question on this plan?
No, it's information about this plan that I think we should consider. Can I go ahead?
If you'll make it short, you should
Well,
have done this version
My time
0,
shouldn't
1,
count
or
for
2.
this. Okay. As I mentioned, I reviewed the expenses going back to 2016. During that period of time, we underspent all kinds of programs by $5.8 million. That's why our reserves are so high. Another way to state that is that we've overcollected through these assessments. And some of these same items that we're concerned about now is where these underspendings occurred, like wasteline remediation and replaced in our water heaters and our refrigerators. So in looking at all these numbers and the reserve balances, one other important factor that you may not be aware of is that at the Finance Committee meeting we just had last week, that report showed that our replacement fund right now is almost $20 million. It's $19.9 million. And why is it that high now, since it was only $19 million at the beginning of the year? Again, we have underspent the assessments collected by $840,000. Why is that significant? It's significant because, again, the big items in that are $350,000 on building structures below budget as far as expenditures. Paint exterior, $294,000. Water heaters, $304,000. So based on this information, I'm projecting that our reserves at the end of this year will be approximately 19 million, some odd $100,000. And what I'm proposing now is that based on this additional information that hasn't been focused on and you're not aware of, is that instead of increasing the reserve fund contribution from $143 to $148. I'm proposing that we reduce that to $130, which is a $5 decrease from the prior year. And that's only going to reduce your reserve fund, the projected amount, by $700,000. I have other information here, I won't get into that, where the projection as far as the reserve fund is even in error, and I'll just touch on that one. In the reserve plan for 2018, and also the reserve plan that a lot of you aren't aware of, we have a certain minimum balance we want to maintain. That's set at $10,400,000. Last year, the fully funded balance was shown as $119 million. I calculate that to be $102 million because if you look at roofs buildup, there's a $12 million overstatement in that amount. They state that it should be $25 million. I calculate that it should only be $8 million. How can I do that? Very simple. The total cost is $17 million, and they include fully funded $25 million. It's just an error. And they show the forecasted reserve balance of $15 million only being 13%. It calculates out to 15.24. And the revised percent funded, I think we're going to have at the end of this year is going to be over $19 million, which is a 19% fund. So there's no reason to raise the assessment. So with all that information, I have the handouts right here that support everything I'm telling you. So with that information, I'm making a motion. I propose to the directors that we adjust the 2019 business plan to reduce the monthly reserve contribution from $148 to $130, which is a $5 decrease from the 2018 amount, with the instructions of staff that a revised 2019 plan be drafted to include this revision. I'm not proposing any other revisions. I am happy with the plan they come up with, except for this item. I cannot understand how we feel comfortable with assessing our members with this amount that is not justified. So again, I've got the information here. I'd like to have somebody second my motion and follow this up. So I move that we do what I suggested here.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved by Manny and seconded by Andre that we reduce the assessment contribution to our reserve fund. All of those in favor, please raise your hand.
Any discussion?
Oh, yes, well, definitely. I'm sorry, discussion. Maggie, we'll start over here and go around.
Okay, some of the non-spent reserves were for toilets, other things where we had to delay for months and months and months and months acting on our program, whatever program that was, for whatever reason. The Pushmatics were the same. And so the money rested there. But we are moving ahead with the programs now, and we would like the money to be there. And we don't want to have to drop and then go up again. So a lot of those bills were planned for those things, and those are there. Secondly, we are running a test program right now for the next 100 days for landscape. And depending on what happens, the landscape budget may be changed. And so I do not at this time think that we want to do this. Thank you.
Janie?
I agree with you, Maggie. Plus, it's also a hot water heater program that we're behind in.
John?
Yeah, in all due respect to Manny, I have to support our staff. You know, they've done a lot of work on this. However, I would have no objection if staff would look into Manny's figures and come back to us.
Thank you.
You know, I can't support it without staff looking at it.
Carl?
I agree with what Don said, okay? That's where I stand on this particular thing. I just, it's an unknown right now, okay? I don't disagree with what Manny may have said, But I believe that staff needs to provide any sort of rebuttal regarding this thing, or at least some information that would make me change from what they've originally presented here.
Andre?
Thanks, Manny. I think you did a fantastic job of coming up with those numbers and did a thorough research on that. I think those numbers need to be reviewed by the staff, and I'm sure Manny can work with them and figure out whether there's any additional information that's being overlooked or something like that. As far as other reserves, the other delayed project, I do have a question that why are we delayed? And we originally scheduled so much people to work on these programs, but now they are delayed. So we are actually spending 100% of our labor and finishing only 80% of our project, which means we have 20% of the excess labor for resources that's not used during the last year, which means we have 20% of extra expense that shouldn't be spent, and our assessment is not fully utilized. So that's the question. I would like to see all the planned projects done and finished on time, on budget, but if there are things that's not done, then apparently you spend 100% of labor resource cost and finish only 80% of project. That's definitely a waste. That's the efficiency side we need to improve. But I do agree that maybe we need to have staff working with Manny to figure out all the numbers. Thank you.
Pat?
As a senior federal auditor for 19 years, and someone who does have some confidence in Manny's work, my feeling is I would like to get a copy of his supporting documents and thoroughly analyze them, as well as go over this with the staff. Thank you.
Cash?
This is a big bombshell. If you wanted to bring this to our notice, you should have done it in the first iteration. This is almost a final iteration we are talking about. I would rather see these funds. I'm sure Mary may be right. I would rather like to see that money in our reserves. And if he's really right, then maybe we can correct accordingly next year and reduce it next year by additional $5 or whatever. But right now, staff has done a wonderful job. They came in after Rev 1 to Rev 2 and resolved most of our questions. And this is not the right time to bring such bombshell. I respect Manuel's work. He is probably very accurate, no two ways about it. But we should not switch at the last minute when we have to do this budget next month. It's finalized next month. It's not appropriate for us to even ask the staff to go up again one more time and review his numbers this time. All I have to say is maybe something like this, if he wants to bring in the future, he should bring it up front. Thank you.
Manuel, you have the last word? Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you
Lisa,
very
did
much.
have a-
Yeah, I can appreciate your questions and your concerns and the timing. Unfortunately, call it a target. This has been a moving target. I've gone to every meeting having to do with budget items. I've gone to the Landscape Committee meeting. I went to the M&C. We also had a meeting July 12th. Then we had a special meeting July 18th. Those numbers kept changing all the time. And I even, last night, had to change some information in here because I didn't get the information till Monday on this version that we have in front of us. So it would have been difficult for me to present it sooner than this because when I first started looking at this, I was looking at it from the point of view is, are we over budgeting in expense categories? And so as I became satisfied that we weren't, because we're still going to do the programs that staff feels are necessary to be done, even if we reduce the reserves by $700,000. The plan is still to do everything that needs to be done. The funds are there. So it's not right for us to continue to collect additional funds just because we want a cushion. That's not the right message, okay? We need to be fair to our members. That's the best I can do for you at this time. Thank you.
Reza, did you have a comment?
Yeah. I support the idea that the supporting documents should also be reviewed by staff, and then we go to a motion to approve or not. Once,
Gentlemen, could you have their attention, please?
Okay.
once we have the results of this, after staff has reviewed the supporting documents and what was Maggie said, then we will have a conclusive opinion as to where we have to go. It's too early.
Okay. Oh, you've had your comment, Andre.
We vote.
No, we have a motion on the floor. No, you can't change the motion because you didn't make the motion.
Right.
Well, you can amend the motion.
He can't.
No.
May I amend the motion that we provide the staff this information and review with Manny and come up with the final approach of, as far as the difference is concerned? Any?
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we amend Manny's motion to give this information to staff and let them have time to look at it and maybe come back with other explanations. All those in favor of the amendment to the motion? Five, six, okay. All those opposed? Okay, the amendment carries.
I want to abstain,
All right.
but I do want to add something to this. I'm wondering if everybody understands that we have a legal deadline for this budget. And the legal deadline is, Betty, September the what?
You need to approve your budget by resolution at the next board meeting in September. And to do so, we have to have resolutions prepared. So your budget numbers have to be finalized 2 weeks before your September board meeting. And
Okay, so we would have to have a special meeting of the board to consider Manny's suggestions, which I ask him to provide to us in advance, because all of us on the board want an opportunity to review them and see what they're about, and staff definitely needs a chance to review them and see what they're about. So the amended motion is that we will provide this to staff and basically we'll have to have a separate meeting to vote on whether or not to raise the assessment.
So we need to
Lowering.
vote on the amended motion now.
We
So-
did, we voted on the amended motion and it was 6-2-1.
On the amendment.
Yeah.
For
So
the
now the
amendment
original,
only.
Right.
but now we have to
We
go
go
back
back
to
to
the
the
original motion.
amended motion. All those in favor of the amended?
Can I restate it? Can I restate it for clarification? Can I restate it?
Yes, please.
So the original motion is to reduce the reserve contribution to $138 per manor per month and give staff time to review the support for that recommendation.
Madam Chair, I have a question. Does staff have time to do this?
Well, this is pretty basic stuff here. You plan for 30 years, you assess annually, and you have really pretty low reserves compared to industry standards, but you have very high collection rates too, so that kind of offsets it. So we're kind of a pay-as-you-go community with a $20 million reserve. You know, most communities you go to maybe have 60, 70, 80% in reserves. What's the industry average, Betty? It varies. But we're pretty low. We're very low, like the lowest, and not be in trouble just because we're so big. So to not put more in reserves, you're again making that choice. We're going to be even more a pay-as-you-go sort of outfit without a ton of cushion if something go horribly wrong. And that's a policy choice that you can make. The assumption here is, and there are a number of I can make, but this is the easiest one, is that we're going to not spend 11 million next year. We're going to spend 8, or we're going to spend 3 million less than what you planned. That's how underperforming you're anticipating we're going to be. If we do that, then this probably works fine and keeps you above the line in future years. I don't know, Ernesto, are you going to come 3 million under? No. I'm just telling you. Now, have we in the past? Yes, I agree that that's the culture, has been to underspend. I don't think he's underspending, and I'm certainly, I got the whip on him pretty good. He's doing it. So I'm a little concerned about that, and you're going to have to get this money from someplace. So somewhere down the road, yes, you'll probably be pretty popular for keep assessments flat or maybe increasing them less. But they do have to go up, and they have to go up more now to do that same body of work that's in the plan. So that, again, it's a 30-year plan. It's got a number at the bottom. You got to raise that kind of money. You don't have to raise it this year. You could be within your authority and certainly even defensible to say, people are hurting out there, let's take it easy on them this year. You could do that, and you could argue it, and it would be reasonable. Or that, we've had a couple of assessments increases the last few years. They've been small, but let's hold it flat this year, and then we'll take another look at it next year and see how this performance goes. All those things make sense. But the truism is whatever you don't collect now, you'll be collecting more from people later to do that same body of work. Yeah. So you may lower them this year, you'll be raising them next year. More.
All right, Janie?
Part of the problems that we've had in the past is everything has been put to the side and no action has been taken. And I thought this board believed in taking the bull by the horns and getting some of this done, so in the future, it's not going to cost us even more money. And I am against Manny's motion, I'm sorry, because I believe we need to get our lines taken care of, our sewers, our drains, and it's just like it's been explained to us before. If we spend the money on our lining of our drains and our sewers, our moisture intrusion will go down in our budgets. And we've got to take a good look at that and take a look at it now and not push it forward to next year, the year after, because they've been kicking the can for years, too long.
Carl?
Maybe I misinterpreted what Manny said, but my understanding was that he felt that all the work that we are presenting here still needs to get done. However, he feels that we have money in the reserves to take care of it today without increasing the reserve funds. Okay, that's my understanding right now. And the thing right now is, okay, it's a matter of...
That's all true. I
and
agree with everything you said. It's
Right.
all true.
Exactly.
It doesn't change the fact of how much you need over time. And so
Understood.
you can collect it now, you can collect it tomorrow.
And that's right now, as you indicated, Brad, okay, it's very simple for you guys to basically come up and say, listen, this is what it is, this is what it should be. If you guys want to reduce it, that this means that we only have so much available in the reserve after this particular year coming up, okay? And are we willing to do that? That's where we stand right now, okay? But we still need to have all of this work done because we feel that this work needs to get done, just like Janie said. So when Betty said that, the motion was that we were going to accept the $138, or rather than the 148, okay, but you guys were going to go back and check the numbers, okay, that's not my understanding. My understanding was you guys were checking the numbers, period, and then we'd vote on the following thing. And I think we should make a motion right now to accept the plan as is, and the only thing that's open is the 148 versus the 138. That's what I see it right now.
I don't think there's a lot of math that we need to do on this.
All right,
You know,
Brad, you're out of order.
Again.
Andre?
The reason I voted to review Manny's information is that he clearly stated he sees something, a calculation error. He didn't dispute the work needs to be done. Okay, so by arguing that this is a kick the can down the road, by arguing about this pushing things forward, by calculating something must go, that's not even an issue. I believe many really agree with the plan, and he stated, a good effort in coming up with a plan. But he thinks that there's a calculation error, so it's time that we check if there's any calculations errors. And then if there's no calculation error, that proves everything's right. Okay, we can go ahead. If there's some calculation errors, then we need to take a look at it and say, how do we correct that? Thank you very much.
Manny?
Let me say what I'm saying, so that you get it from me.
Is your mic on?
Okay. Here's what I'm saying. Yes, I am satisfied with the budget as far as expenditures and everything else. And in reviewing this, I feel staff has provided for every need that we're going to have in the next year. There's no slowdown of any programs. As a matter of fact, I mentioned 2 items. Wasteline remediation has gone up to $3 million now? Landscaping has increased over 900,000. So I am not proposing to slow down in any programs. And I think staff is content, or let's say, they're comfortable with the budget to provide for all those needs. What I am saying is I don't see a need to raise the reserve fund assessment because we've accumulated excess funds in there over 2016, 2017, even through the first 6 months of 2018. And during that period of time, I didn't say this before, but that's a period of time during which VMS has been involved here. Prior to that was PCM, okay? So they've been aware of these needs. The funds have been provided. I don't know why it didn't happen. It just didn't happen. So why do we need to continue to charge the members just because we want cushion for the future? Let's look at this again next year at this time. Okay? Thank you. That's what I'm saying. I don't say there's any errors or anything else.
All right, you're not saying there's a calculation error?
No,
Okay.
there wasn't. There was in prior years.
Right. Okay, Brad?
Yeah, again, there's no right or wrong here. This is a policy decision for this board to make. If you lower the assessment to the amount that Director Armendariz wants to lower it to, we'll still do all this work. There's resources to do that. Where you may have to pay the pipers down the road if our performance continues to be good and you start dipping below your threshold line, then you may have to make adjustments to the assessment that would be greater than if you had more cushion, and that's all. And so it's not a right or wrong situation. It's a policy choice for this board to make. Do you want to keep assessments down a little bit and work off some of the accumulated reserve, or do you want to keep that in anticipation of maybe rougher waters ahead and assess fully as we've suggested? So again, not right or wrong, policy choices. This is the stuff you're here for, not to be tinkering around with my programs. This is what you're supposed to do.
Right.
It's a great policy choice for this board.
All right, John?
Yeah, how much money are we actually talking about per man or per month?
$10.
$9 and something.
$10.
We could lower the monthly assessment by $10?
If you
said
decrease your reserve contribution $10, you'll be flat,
said
basically.
5.
That's all I'm talking about. $780,000 for next year.
Yep, that's correct.
Barbara? You've been
Thank
very
you.
patient.
Barbara
Thank you.
Copley, 410D. I would like to suggest, this has all been very kind of disturbing, actually. I suggest you take your vote for the budget, which is what you need to do, with the proviso that you investigate this information, which has been presented, and with the proviso that you can come back at a special meeting, might even have it closed, where you can evaluate what has been presented and make a bona fide decision at that time. You've got to take this vote and then come back and take the time to have this presented in whatever manner it has to be.
I would say, let's
Steve?
just pass the budget.
As a former board member, I am shaking in my boots. I provided an analysis of dues, which is posted in the board members' room. And my analysis clearly showed that when past boards did not continue to raise assessments and let them flatline for a number of years, that what transpired thereafter was a large increase in dues. Second thing I'd like to say is that being an owner in another community other than this one, I've personally gone through a situation where when I purchased my unit, the reserves were X. And in 10 years, the reserves were projected to be X times 2. And within 14 years, there were no reserves. And I suffered 3 special assessments. Number 3, if everyone turns to page 12 in the staff report, I'll go over this real quick. In the first column, first row, it says 2018 assessment, $143 per man per month, with a total contribution of $10.8 million and expenditures of $11.6, to leave you a reserve balance of $18.8. Every year thereafter, in 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25, the reserve assessments are shown here to go up $5 in each one of those years. When you get to the year 2025, you'll see that your reserve balance is going to be at $14 million. That's $3.8 million less than it is today. And that's going up $700 and some odd thousand a year, every year, for the next 6 years. How in the world this board can even consider jeopardizing the future reserve balances of this community is totally unreasonable to me. Thank you.
Okay. I will do the last comment then, before we vote on that motion. To try to simplify it, at least in my mind, is we can take the money out of our reserves that we need to fund these projects now, but we are not putting the money back into reserves. And that could hurt us down the line. We don't know what's going to happen next year, the year after that, or whatever. So does this board really want to not refund the reserve fund for the money that we are anticipating taking out in the next couple of years? Okay, well, let's vote.
What's the resolution?
You want to restate that, Betty?
So the original motion was to reduce the reserve contribution down to $138 per man or per month. That's a $10 reduction from what you see proposed in version 2. You amended that motion to provide staff information for review and to come up with a final analysis to see if it supports that recommendation. And Brad's made it pretty clear that while you may be able to reduce it in 2019, we will have to increase assessments in future years for that work to get done.
Yeah, so we do want to do this year, pay me now, pay me later. All right, all of those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand.
Let's clarify this motion, please, again. I got a little bit confused.
It's no raise.
It's about the motion we had originally, right? Yes. To accept Manny's
No, it's just no raise.
No, the motion is
No
to
raise.
contribute to reserves $138 per man or per month. That's the motion. And it was amended to add the qualification that you provide information to staff to review before you make your,
Right, but what is
Final
the
budget.
contribution in the plan?
148.
148. Reduce the
Contribution to
reserves
reserve.
by $10
Right,
this year.
okay.
All right, again, all of those in favor? So far I have two. What's your vote, Reza? You're voting for?
I'm in favor of reducing.
Okay. So I have three, and those who are against? 6, if you count me, and Pat is abstaining?
I thought we'd already passed the motion before this.
No,
No,
we passed,
the amendment.
we have passed the amendment, which was to review it with staff.
Thank you. We appreciate your view.
Wait.
Wait, all right, come on.
That
Call
is-
to order. The motion does not pass. There were 3 for, and 6 against, and 1 abstain. You're still abstaining? Okay, so the motion fails.
We don't review Manny's study at all at this point.
Although I'm sure staff would be happy to take a look at it. I wish we'd had it more time in advance so that we could have considered it at this meeting, but as Cash pointed out, we did not, and so making those changes now at this meeting doesn't work, and if we want to have staff look at it, come back to us with a special meeting with any changes that they feel that this might be, then we can do that. But for this meeting, we're not going to do that. So,
Mayor, I think
Yes.
everybody got confused here.
right,
The motion, from what I understand, was to have staff review the Manny's suggestion, then recommend to us, then we go for a vote. But the whole thing changed. Right now, we said we're going to vote for reducing. This is later, maybe.
well, we don't have a lot of later. If I can talk to Reza's point, the motion was to reduce the contribution to reserves by $10. An amendment was made that said also we should look at the figures that Manny had provided for us today and give those to staff and let them have a chance to go over it. So we still had the motion to reduce the contribution to reserves by $10, including giving it to staff to take a look at and coming back to us if they felt there were any changes that need to be made. And that's the vote that failed. Maggie?
I move that we accept the preliminary business plan version 2 as presented.
I have a question.
All right, well,
Yeah, I have a question before that, too.
I have a question.
Well.
Pretty important question, because I'm confused now. What was the motion, if somebody kept track of it, that was passed by a vote of 6, 2, and 1? What was that motion?
the amendment
Yeah.
to give the
That was an
information
amendment.
you made to staff. That's all. All right, we have a motion by Maggie.
Hold on. That's not my amendment.
There,
That was not my amendment. My amendment was to say, give the staff time to review this with Manny and come back with accurate numbers. And that's the one that's approved, the 6x4 or something.
621.
Yeah, that's the one that's approved.
But it was amended to his motion, which said we're going to reduce it by $10.
No.
Your amendment just added that clause to it, that we would give the information to staff, they would review it, and if they felt there was something, they would come back. You have to realize that you were amending an existing motion.
Right. I amended, my amendment is to say, give it to the staff and let them review and then come up with a more accurate number.
That's exactly
I
what we
didn't say
voted on.
keep the 138, I didn't say keep the 138.
You are amending a motion that said that. So the original motion with your amendment is to reduce it by $10 from 140, anyway, to 138, and
No, I
your
didn't say
amendment
and.
said to
That-
have
I didn't say
the
and.
work with the other.
You add and, I didn't say and.
You said amendment.
Wait.
Amendment means that we already had a motion on the
Right.
floor.
Amendment means I replace those things, I didn't say that.
No,
An amendment does not
No.
replace the original motion. It adds a qualifier to it.
right.
And your qualifier was that we would, staff would review with Manny the information that he had gotten.
Right.
Okay,
Pat?
I then move.
Could we get
No,
this gentleman?
I'm sorry.
We have another.
There
motion
is
on
a
the floor.
motion
What?
on the floor.
Okay, wait, Pat, you had a comment?
Yes, I'd like to get this gentleman to give us a review of our motions, what they were and what happened with them. Could you do that? You've got them all?
Betty's doing that, I think.
Yeah, I've been taking the notes, and Juanita outlined it correctly. You can't replace a motion with an amendment. You're adding to the motion. What you could do is vote down the original motion and make a new one, but your amendment didn't remove the motion to reduce the reserve contribution by $10. It added to it. So
All right.
the addition passed, but the original motion as amended did not pass.
All right,
So can I make a move?
So that's where we are.
We have a motion
We're
on
back
the
to
floor, made by Maggie, seconded by Cash, to accept staff's recommendation for the preliminary 2019 business plan version 2. All of those in favor? 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. All of those against? Okay, it's 6-3, and the motion passes.
And I'm abstaining.
Yes, upstairs, 6-2 to 1.
6-3 to 1.
6-3 to 1, excuse me.
Okay.
You're right.
Right.
6-3 and 1 abstention. All right, yes, Carl?
I believe that some sort of an explanation with regard to this is required to our audience, whereby this board didn't just completely sidetrack Manny and say that Manny had his particular views and his work that he did on that was not just cast aside and said, you don't know what you're talking about. He obviously did. We chose, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that we felt that we still needed to add to our reserves because of basically what Steve had indicated here, okay? That we feel that the reserves still need to be bulked up because we feel that in the next year we are going to start spending it a lot more than what we are currently spending it, okay? The hot water heaters are going to go ramped up in programs. We're going to not have staff doing a lot of this work. We're going to have contractors doing this work. So the fact that we were cut back with the fact people have questioned the fact that we didn't use enough staff people to do this work. You had indicated that we're going to be using contractors to do a lot of this work. So we feel that the reserves still needed to be bolstered at this particular point in time, okay? That's the intent here, I believe, of this board based on the vote that we just took. We didn't just discount Manny. We said that we are going to keep the reserves at the levels that we currently have and spend that money, a lot of it next year with regard to a lot of that work. That's my understanding.
Right, Janie?
I agree with you, Carl, 100%.
Thank you. All right, yes, Risa?
Question?
Yeah, I disagree with the conclusion. I think what I heard was that Andre made an amendment. Then he wanted to amend it. And you said here you can't do it. And he amended the amendment, but now everything got confused. You went back to original thing without That is my understanding.
Well, he amended the original motion. He did not replace it. And so that's what we voted on. No. An amendment does not replace the original motion.
No.
It adds a contingency to it. And the contingency was that staff would review the information that Manny has provided for us. Yes?
Are we on member comments?
Hold on. I have a question about the
I haven't
procedure.
spoken
Question
in a
of
while.
procedure.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, the last move by Director Blackwell, there is no member discussion on that.
Oh, there was quite a bit of discussion on that.
The move by Director
Maggie
Blackwell.
to accept this?
Yes.
And Cash to approve it?
Yeah, did we have any discussion on
Yes, we
that?
did.
No, we didn't have any
Yes, we
discussion.
did.
I was going to say something, but I didn't get a chance to.
Okay, I didn't see it. Okay. We will go on to number 7, board member comments. And I'll start over here. Raisa, do you have any comments?
About Maggie's?
No,
No.
just
Any comments,
general
just
on the meeting. This is board member comments. The end of the meeting.
No, I don't have anything else.
All right, Maggie?
Yes, I'll just try and clarify a little bit for the audience. A motion is made, for example, to buy 2 tickets at $25 each for a performance. And someone amends it to spend $50 for the tickets so they can get better seats. So they vote on the amendment, which is to $50 for the seats, and they're still going for the same performance. The only thing that has changed is the amount of money. When Andre's amendment revolutionized Manny's motion so that it was different. Andre's amendment wasn't really an amendment to a motion, it was a whole new idea. We set Manny's motion aside for a while and dealt with the whole new idea. And people voted on what they thought. But then when you put it together with Manny's motion, it didn't fit. And that's why the board voted however they voted. I think it's in an abundance of caution and concern, and the fact that it is very late in the year to make these decisions. Pardon me in the audience, and that's what I had to say. I'm sorry there was misunderstanding about the motions. I'm sure no one meant to mislead anybody, and everybody was listening, but the amendment wasn't really an amendment because it was a total new idea. It wasn't even in the same package. So, thank you, that's all.
Jeannie?
I want to thank staff for the incredible job that they've done on the budget and all the meetings we've gone through and the time we've spent. I believe you've done an excellent job within what the board has guided you. And I want to say thank you to everybody.
I have nothing to add.
Carl?
I would just like to say that the $9.53, I guess, is what we, per month, okay, is as indicated before, okay, at 2% of CPI. And nobody wants to spend extra money, neither do I, because I'm a member of this community also. But the work needs to get done. And if we get to the point where we're going to advance our schedule and get this work done, then we're going to be starting to spend this money, possibly a lot more so than what Manny had projected, okay? I still think that staff should take a look at Manny's numbers and just, if nothing else, okay, just basically give everybody a look-see and see what's going on, okay? But At the end of the day, this money is going to go into reserves, okay? And we're not specifically just putting money in there and trying to get the money out of the members' pockets, okay? It's going to be used for work that we're going to eventually get done here at this place. This is not stuff that you just put money in the bank just to save it, okay, for a rainy day. We need to get this work done. And yes, maybe we have excess money in the reserve funds as a result of all of the calculations that Manny did, but eventually it will get spent. So at this particular point in time, $9.53 is a lot of money for some people, but at the same time, it still needs to get spent to get the work done that we need in this community. And that's all I have to say on that.
Andre?
I think the staff did a good job, although I still haven't got any justification on the numbers. And that's really something that we need to find out. If there are multiple vendors, if we're working with multiple vendors, at least we can compare them, the quality and the expense, and decide which one. But since we have only one vendor, if we don't do detailed analysis, we don't have any justifications, we still don't know whether that's the lowest expense, whether that's the most efficient way or the most effective way of doing business. Please let me speak. Okay. And also, I would like to state that this as a board director, we are taking your money seriously. We take your money as my own money and look into these matters. I don't think that just because it's a CPI percentage, it's a good way. We need to find out which money is spent where and how are they spent. That's the idea of being to represent the residents, represent the members, representing the customers, making you happy. And these things are the requirements of being a board member. And I think hopefully in the coming election, we'll find more members, candidates that are residents concerned and focus on the residents instead of just say, okay, this is probably time to increase the budget and let's just stamp it and make it happen. Thank you.
Yes, I abstained on each of these votes because I felt I didn't understand enough of what Manny was proposing. I have a great deal of faith for Manny and his analytical abilities when it comes to the accounting side of things. However, it should have been, somehow or other, he should have been able to present it to us a lot earlier so we could have analyzed it ourselves. To the public, I would say, don't worry about this. Yes, $10. It's like putting an extra $10 in your savings account, because that's exactly what it is. We put $10 of yours into the reserves. We have that $10 then to fix some of the infrastructure that we have. So thank you very much, and I think we made the right decision in the end. Thank you.
Cash?
First of all, let me say, staff has done excellent job as always. And the same question was asked after the first rev, when someone else had proposed $20 and staff came up with these numbers. So very likely, Manny is a very good analyst with numbers. And I would like to propose, Madam Chair, before our general meeting next week, to have a separate meeting just to discuss this when we had a chance to digest what he's talking about, either tomorrow or Monday. If
May I
we can do
suggest that we do that in the closed meeting next week?
Yes, yes.
Because we will not be voting on this until September.
Right. Okay.
We'll add it to the agenda.
Again, thank you, Manny. I'm going to go through these numbers and either agree with you or disagree with you. I don't know yet. Thank you.
All right, Manny?
Okay. First, if we have this special meeting and you look at my information and it's convincing, does that mean that you will then reconsider what I proposed? Or does it mean you just look at it and walk away and do your usual rubber stamp? Which is it? Answer that and then I'll give you my comments.
All right, I resent the rubber stamp committee because we don't do that. We have really looked at what we're doing. We've gone into it in great detail. And I don't think that any of us here feel that we are a rubber stamp. You may
Well, did you
continue.
answer my question? Is it going to matter?
Yes, no, we will look at it. Staff will come back to us. We will look at it in closed session next week, and if there are changes that we want made, we will direct staff to do that before our September meeting where we approve the final budget.
Okay, very good. I apologize for that remark. I just couldn't help myself. But again, I want to say that, yes, staff has done a very good job on putting this whole budget business plan together for 2019. And none of my remarks regarding the reserves were intended to say that it would impede any of the programs. All I was trying to make everybody aware of, that I'm sure they hadn't focused on, is that since VMS has been aboard for 2.5 years now, through the financial statements, through the budgets, through all the reports, the Green Book, Blue Book, whatever you want to call it, $5.8 million has been added to reserves because of unspent monies that were in those budgets. I just want to make sure that everybody here saw that information and focused on it, because I don't think you have. So I am disappointed. Naturally, I'm disappointed. I think our members, whoever watched this on TV, whoever here present, must be disappointed. And all I can say is that sometimes, no matter how hard you try, no matter what information you present, it's just impossible to convince people. So I guess I'll have to close by saying, I think we have to take this back to a business-like environment for me. And that's, from now on, I choose to be called Manuel like I did when I first joined this board, okay? Because I don't want anybody using the word Manny to call me as if I'm a personal acquaintance or friend. So from now on, everybody on this board, please call me Manuel or Manuel Armendariz or Manuel J. Armendariz. Thank you.
Thank you. And I apologize, Manuel. We will work to either that or Director Armendariz. Final remark for our next meeting is Tuesday, September 11th, 2018, and at that time, we will vote to accept the final budget. With that, we are adjourned.